Yesterday it was just Acuna Jr. On the injured list, a normal setback, nothing alarming, but today everything changes. A back-to-back Cy Young ace suddenly needs elbow surgery and the timeline isn't weeks, it's months. And just like that, one team's entire season starts to quietly fall apart. But the real problem isn't just the injury, it's what the Tigers were already hiding before this ever happened. Yesterday it was just Ronald Acuna Jr. heading to the injured list with a hamstring issue. Annoying but manageable. Fans shrugged it off like a short-term setback. Nothing that changes a season, but today everything shifts because out of nowhere a back-to-back Cy Young winner is suddenly going under the knife for elbow surgery. Not a tweak, not a rest, a procedure with a months-long recovery. And just like that, what looked like routine bad luck turns into something much darker for one franchise already hanging by a thread in the standings. But here's the twist nobody saw coming: the warning signs were there long before the diagnosis ever dropped. This is where everything changes for the Tigers, because the news drops that Tarik Skubal, a back-to-back Cy Young winner, has undergone a procedure on his left elbow to remove loose bodies. At first glance it sounds like a minor fix, but the recovery timeline tells a very different story: 2 to 3 months at minimum. And suddenly Detroit doesn't just lose an ace, they lose the anchor of their entire season. The timing couldn't be worse, with the team already hovering just above .500. What looked like a competitive year is now facing a massive identity crisis overnight. But what makes this even more alarming is that the numbers were already quietly collapsing before the injury was ever confirmed. This injury didn't come out of nowhere. In fact, the warning signs were hiding in plain sight all season long. Tarik Skubal's dominance started to look slightly off. His era crept higher than previous Cy Young campaigns. His strikeout rate dipped in a way nobody expected. Even advanced metrics began flashing subtle red flags that something wasn't right. Hard contact was up. Exit velocity against was rising sharply. And the scary part, it wasn't just luck turning, it looked physical. Something in his stuff wasn't playing the same way anymore, and hitters were starting to notice it before anyone else did. But the real shock wasn't the numbers, it was what Skubal himself finally admitted about pitching through it all season. The deeper you look, the more alarming it gets. Skubal's fastball velocity wasn't just down slightly, it was consistently dropping across every start. Around 1 to 1.5 miles per hour gone from his usual peak. That might not sound huge, but at his level it changes everything. His changeup also started showing a different shape, almost like the pitch wasn't behaving the same anymore. Hitters weren't guessing, they were seeing it earlier. Hard contact went up, swings got more confident, and the dominance faded in real time. The scary part? He admitted it himself, something had been bothering him all year. But if he knew something was wrong all season, why did it take this long to finally shut him down? And this is where the situation stops being about one player. Because the Detroit Tigers aren't just losing Skubal, they're already drowning in injuries across the entire pitching staff. Multiple arms are on the injured list at the same time, forcing constant rotation changes and emergency call-ups. What was supposed to be a stable pitching core has turned into chaos just 35 games into the season. The team is barely holding above .500, but the structure underneath is cracking fast. Every absence adds more pressure, more innings on tired arms, and more uncertainty about who can even take the mound next week. And now, the terrifying reality: the Tigers might be forced to survive the rest of the season on bullpen chaos alone. Now the Tigers are entering a phase no contender wants to face: bullpen survival mode. With the rotation collapsing and injuries piling up, every game turns into a scramble. Starters can't go deep, which means relievers are being asked to cover innings they were never meant to handle. Matchups disappear. Structure disappears. Even small leads start feeling fragile. One bad inning can flip everything instantly. And the most dangerous part: this isn't temporary. It's becoming the identity of their season. What was supposed to be a pitching strength has now turned into nightly uncertainty, where nothing feels stable anymore. But the real question is, how long can a playoff-caliber team survive when every single night becomes a bullpen gamble? So when you step back, this isn't just about Tarik Skubal's elbow or a few weeks on the injured list. It's about a season slowly shifting off its foundation. The Tigers started the year with hope, stability, and a Cy Young anchor at the top of their rotation. Now they're staring at uncertainty, injuries, and bullpen dependency as their new normal. One injury didn't just remove an ace, it exposed how fragile everything already was. And in a long MLB season, that kind of instability doesn't just cost games, it can quietly decide who disappears from the playoff race. And the hardest part, the collapse might have already started before anyone even noticed it happening.